Hi everyone, I'm Mike Whiting, the General Manager of the Rec Centers. I've had the pleasure of meeting many of you over the years, but there are some of you that I have not met, and that's one of the reasons we're doing this video program. We've made a lot of advancements to the Rec Centers over the years, particularly in the area of technology. When I got here, we had a website, not much else. Now we have websites, a blog, a Wi-Fi throughout the community, and now these video programs. We've actually been working on this video program concept for a while, but have only recently had time to finalize the introduction. We wanted to introduce something like the LPGA Legends Tournament as our first go-round. We'll be hosting that in April. Unfortunately, at this point in time, we find ourselves in the midst of a referendum election that could change the entire fabric of this community. So this video cast won't be fun or upbeat like we hoped it would be, but the election is extremely important to this community's future. Hopefully by now most of you have heard about the election. There are 5 candidates who have stepped forward for the election of the governing board. We applaud these members for taking the time to get the signatures and to make a commitment to run for the board. One of the candidates also happens to be a former employee of the Rec Centers and the author of the referendum to modify the 3 bylaws. I won't talk about Ernie Prendle's tenure at the Rec Centers, nor will I talk about his candidacy for the board. I think anyone who is willing to step forward and run for the board, which is an unpaid 3-year commitment, deserves our appreciation. But the bylaw changes proposed in Ernie's referendum are not going to take this community into a positive direction. In fact, I and many others believe these changes will destroy this community as we know it. I foresee a community with poorly maintained, even mothballed golf courses. Look at the Sun Dome and decide if that's what you want this community to look like. I see clubs and residents pitted against one another in a fight for limited capital funding, with each voting down the other's special interest requests. Because really, that's what this community is, a community of special interest. But a community that works because we respect and understand that for the whole to survive, we must support the many interests. That's the way democracy works. Undoubtedly, some of you don't golf, some of you don't bowl or play pickleball or even use the library. But you benefit by being a member of this community, even if it's just by knowing your home values fared better than those in the rest of the nation. Even if it's just knowing your community is safe because it's well maintained and has a sense of community. There's a reason we have no graffiti here. There's a reason crime is low. It's because the community looks like someone cares about it. Now imagine if several of the areas of this community looked like the Sun Dome. Imagine a golf course overrun with weeds, or a rec center where the paint is peeling or the tennis courts are buckling. These things matter. We all want to keep dues low. I give in my personal commitment that I worked hard over the years and will continue to do so to keep your dues low. The petition sponsors say our dues will go to $425 in the next few years. I disagree. They don't know that. They say dues will be frozen if you pass the bylaw amendments. They don't know that either, and I don't agree. They say the board is spending recklessly. Well, let me tell you, over the last few years when dues did go up, we spent that money to build our reserves. We spent that money to buy water rights, and we spent that money to buy equipment that was being leased. That's about $8.8 million that we spent to improve the community and to build our reserves. I don't think that's reckless spending. Your board spends countless hours studying these decisions. That's why you elected them. I faced my employees and told them for 2 of the last 3 years they weren't getting raises. I told the governing board I didn't want a raise either. I told the governing board we didn't need a multi-purpose gym, that we couldn't afford it. I know you're hurting, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I sat by and let this community deteriorate. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you that I think these bylaws will turn this community into one big Sun Dome. There's a reason Sun City West has not only survived but thrived for the last 32 years. There's a reason we have been named as one of the state's top 10 best active adult communities. It's a reason our home values have fared better than the rest of the state in this downturn economy. There's a reason that people hear about Sun City West and choose to move here, despite not having advertising budgets like Del Webb or Pulte Homes, the Robeson communities. It's not because we've been mismanaged for 32 years, it's because the bylaws that you all approved in 2007 are good bylaws, and they don't need to be changed. When I first came to work here, we were in a similar situation. There was much talk about cutting fees, reducing costs, and in general changing the face of Sun City West. It was a horrible time of mistrust, of neighbors fighting with neighbors. It took us several years to repair that damage. I don't want to go back there. Those of you who lived through it don't want to go back there either. So let's move forward together. When you vote on March 27th, you will be voting on whether to keep Sun City West the way it is or approve the referenda, and you'll be fundamentally changing Sun City West forever. Do you want a community, or do you want a loosely bound group of homeowners where you only pay for what you want? Del Webb didn't set us up that way because he knew that it was not sustainable. If you want a community instead of a much larger Sundome, vote no on March 27th. Thank you very much for your time. I'll be talking to you again.